conspiracy book, and I thought, oh, I flipped through it. I said, I know this name, I know that name. I read all about this department. Wait, UFOs? How's this happening? We learned fairly recently that in 2014 or 2015, a couple of Navy pilots flying F/A-18 Super Hornets in tandem had an object that flew right between them. It was a square, cube-shaped object with a sphere inside it, whatever that is. Whoa! So this is a deep dive history into the UFO phenomenon during those years. That took a lot. That was a lot of work. This was a fun book to write. I had a great co-author, and we really tried to bring to life the whole question of disclosure and what it would do.
So Richard, how important is it that researchers are actually out in the field trying to document this phenomenon?
I think there's different kinds of researchers who do different kinds of things. So the UFO subject is multifaceted. So there's sightings that occur all the time. So you need investigators to go out and actually to do the legwork and to get the data down in a reliable way. That's probably where it all starts. Nothing happens without that. So if you're not getting accurately documented cases that we can talk about and argue about and write about, then nothing else is worthwhile. But it doesn't end there. So then there's other people, and they have other skills. Some people are really just good at going into National Archives and going into presidential libraries, or are good at or interested in looking at declassified documents. That's a whole different skill set, and that's also valuable. Usually you don't find it's the same people. Sometimes there's crossover, but a lot of times I think people fit into the skill set that they're most comfortable with. And so I think with the UFO subject, there's a lot of room for different skill sets to contribute.
Now, I know you talked about this in your talk, but recently, the Navy has been releasing a lot of videos and have actually admitted that this is real.
Right.
Okay, so just talk about that a little bit.
That's a fascinating development. If you go back even 3-4 years ago, I think people would have been quite surprised to have known that the U.S. government or the U.S. military, the Navy, would support the existence of genuine UFO documents or genuine UFO video. That would have been a shocking thing. We're now at a point in these last 2 years, since the end of 2017, we're seeing a significant turnaround in at least some of this narrative. So yes, just a week ago from where we are now, the United States Navy made this admission. They said the 3 videos that have been released over the past couple of years, the so-called Tic Tac UFO video, the gimbal UFO video as it's called, and then the Go Fast video, there's 3 of them. These, the Navy acknowledged, were legitimate UAP, that these UAP are violating sensitive airspace, that they are in places where no objects are supposed to be. They exhibit qualities that are highly advanced. And the Navy itself is saying things like instant acceleration and incredible performance capabilities.
And that's why they talk about a threat, not meaning bodily harm, but it's a threat to the airspace, meaning that the Navy can't control the airspace as these things going through.
Yeah, I don't think of this.
People are getting a little caught up with that word threat.
They are. They're accusing them of fear-mongering. I think that's totally wrong. I wrote 2 volumes of history on this called UFOs in the National Security State, and I documented hundreds of military encounters with these objects. Objects that in the 40s and 50s and 60s were also violating sensitive airspace, time and again. Nuclear sites and weapons facilities and so forth. These objects weren't attacking them, but they were over these places and they weren't supposed to be there. So if you're running security for a military base, of course that's a potential threat. You have to treat it as such. There's nothing illegitimate about that.
But are they worried about bodily harm? No.
They don't seem to be. There are some cases, though, that the Navy has allowed out where these pilots are talking about near misses, near collisions, rather, with these objects where there's potential danger. We learned fairly recently that in 2014 or 2015, a couple of Navy pilots flying F/A-18 Super Hornets in tandem had an object that flew right between them. It was a square, cube-shaped object with a sphere inside it, whatever that is. So there's a potential danger there, and I don't think they should ignore that. But I think the real thing that we're seeing is a rebooting, a rebranding of the UFO phenomenon within the mainstream as these UAP, these unknown aerial phenomena, with this somewhat convenient fiction of we don't know what they are. You know, you hear this a lot. We don't know. Are they Russian? Are they Chinese? I don't think anyone believes that they're Russian or Chinese, but
They still say that.
they say it because they're trying to reset the phenomenon, as it were. I think to divest it of a lot of the cultural baggage that's
been carried forward, right?
Little gray men, little green men, abductions, all of that. They want that out, and I think the reason is what we're seeing is this group of people known as TTSA. What I see them as currently is that they're a faction of individuals that have connections with the intelligence world, clearly. But they are not the same as the intelligence world. They're a faction within it. They have their motivations for pushing a disclosure narrative. They've got allies in the media, they've got allies within the Pentagon, but they also have enemies in the media. They have enemies in the Pentagon. So I think they're negotiating a way through that maze, getting videos declassified that they can, others they're not able to, and I think that's what's going on. So they're trying to walk very carefully by rebranding this subject in the way that they are to get their message out. That's what it looks like to me.
Great. Another question. You're quite a researcher. You spend a lot of time researching. Have you been out in the field with people who are getting things?
At times.
Okay.
It's not really my main thing, honestly.
Would you like
Getting
to
out there, getting dirty, digging. I've done it.
Would you like to?
It's not my
for
best
example,
skill set.
Yeah. When there is a pre-programmed sighting, would you like to be invited to go to it?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Many, many years ago, I was invited to do a dig at Roswell out in the fields, looking for artifacts. That's like archaeological work. It's hard. It's painstaking. It's something that I would do, but I don't really think that that's going to be my best skill set.
Your best skill set is what you're exactly doing.
We do what we're drawn to. So, but look, I mean, the bottom line is that field investigators they are the most fundamental element of this. People forget this. Like nowadays, a lot of folks will say, we don't need any more reports of sightings of lights in the sky or of this piece of evidence or that piece of evidence. We know the truth. Well, it's true. Like you can say you know the truth, but we don't have, we never have enough evidence. There's always room for more good evidence.
More data.
More data. I firmly agree with that. And actually, we need it worldwide, even more than in the U.S. and Canada. I think there's a great lack of strong evidence that's being collected by people from other parts of the world. U.S. and Canada are doing pretty well compared with other regions. South America has got a lot of researchers, but there's not this comprehensive effort that you will often see here. Or in Europe, it's even worse. In China, in Russia, there's things going on, but we don't know all of what's going on.
It doesn't seem
there.
to come across in North America too much.
No, so there's definitely a need for much more data, and then that data's got to be synthesized in some way so that we can all make sense of it.